We interacted with working girls all the time on the streets of inner-city Guadalajara, and my heart always went out to them. These girls were risking their lives day in and day out, just to survive, some voluntarily, and some as victims of the human sex trade. I became friends with one lady whose name was Paty, and she had been in the business for many years. I approached her one night with a different kind of proposition. "Hey Paty, I want to make a deal with you. Are you a creative person? Have you ever done anything artistic?" "I like to cook. Does that count?" she replied. "Absolutely. Cooking is a culinary art, but I want you to try another art form to express yourself. I know you are out here night after night doing what you do to get by. I know it's just a job for you and you are used to it, but I still hate to see you selling your body because you are worth more than that. You were created in God's image and you have so much more to offer than just sex." "What do you have in mind?" she asked. "Well, here's the deal. I want you to take the rest of the night off. No customers. Instead, I want you to go home and create some original works of art for me. I brought you some canvases, paints, and brushes, and I want you to take as much time as you need to create an original masterpiece, like when you are cooking a gourmet meal, okay? Create a few paintings that express who you are and what you are feeling." "What do you want me to paint?" "I don't know how to paint." "That's okay. Don't worry about that. It can be anything you want. Totally abstract. A self-portrait, a bowl of fruit, whatever you want. And here's the offer. Whatever you would make with a client, I will pay you for a painting that you paint for me. Do we have a deal?" She looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was, but I had to try. I had to get her to try to do something else. I handed her a large plastic shopping bag with all the supplies she needed to make some original paintings. She hesitated, looked at me quizzically, then took the bag. "Okay, now get out of here. Go home and get to work. You are an artist tonight. You are painter. I am your patron, your only client who commissioned some original paintings. You work only for me, no one else. Got it?" She shook her head like I was a lunatic, but with an amused smile on her face, she turned and headed home. "Now go. Go to work. I will be back to look for you next week to pick up my paintings and pay you in cash for them." She said okay, and without another word, left with her bag of art supplies. She walked down the street and disappeared around the corner. I didn't follow her to make sure she did as I asked. I just gave her an opportunity to do something different. It was her choice to take advantage of it or not. It was all up to her. A week later, we went to look for Paty. She wasn't hard to find in the red light district. We greeted her and asked how her art project went. She was kind of reluctant to tell us. "I am not a very good artist. I don't think you're going to like them." "Hey, we had a deal. Show us what you got." She went into the lobby of a cheap hotel where she was staying and came out with a plastic bag. I was actually excited to see what she was able to create. She pulled out a painting and held it up for us to see. I looked at it carefully and nodded in approval as I pretended to admire what was the most hideous painting I think I've ever seen. It was a volcano erupting and looked like it was done by a preschooler, but I offered my best positive critique. "Wow, it is amazing. I love the bold, vivid colors. The contrast between the cobalt blue sky and the bright orange fire and lava is very dramatic and intense. Your technique is also bold and carefree." A nice way of saying sloppy. Then she took out another piece, an arrangement of fruit. This one was actually much better and obviously took more time and creative thought. There were even shadows and more attention to detail. "I have to confess something," she said. "I painted the volcano, but my daughter actually painted the fruit. She's much better at painting than me." "Hey, I get it. It takes practice. But the deal was for you to paint for me, not your daughter. I will still take them both, but I will give you 200 pesos for yours, but only 100 for your daughter's." She smiled as she accepted the money. I detected a slight sense of pride and accomplishment in her little smirk and twinkle in her eye. I was proud of her, and I told her so. "Paty, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you doing this for me, and I want to tell that whatever you paint for me, I will buy from you. I also appreciate your being honest with me about your daughter helping you. I want to help you both. Maybe we can get you both signed up for some classes to improve your technique and get even better." Yeah, that sounds great, Paty replied. For now, use up the supplies you have and bring me whatever you paint, okay? We still have a deal. Okay, I will, she replied. Days and weeks went by, and I didn't see Paty again. I asked around for her, but no one knew where she was. Finally, one evening I spotted her in the passenger seat of a brown van that drove right by me. We made eye contact and I waved at her. She smiled back. I recognized the van as one belonging to a local businessman who used it to transport his girls back and forth around the city. Paty was one of those girls. I later saw her again on the street and had a chance to talk briefly with her. I asked her how she was and what had happened. She told me that she was not going to be able to paint for me anymore because her husband didn't approve and she had to work for him. I had met the guy before and knew him to be a tough taskmaster. Paty may have really been married to him at one time, and her daughter may have been his as well. I don't know for sure. But I did know that she worked for him for years and they were close. I know she was given some liberties and privileges because of her tenure in the industry, but I had apparently interfered with that. Paty never painted for me again. We continued to be friends after that and always shared that brief but special artist/patron relationship. More importantly, she knew how much we loved her and that God loved her even more. Thank you so much for listening to this true story from Memoirs of Mexico. If you enjoyed this story, or if it was a blessing to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing to me. I upload a new true story every day. If you like to read, you can also order Memoirs of Mexico in paperback or ebook on Amazon.com. There's a link in the description. Thanks again for listening.